The Chicago Bears just did something that should make every single fan stop and pay close attention. They went out and signed a linebacker from a spring developmental league, 6 weeks before training camp even begins. And if you think that is a nothing burger, think again, because the injury situation at linebacker right now is more alarming than the front office wants you to believe. If you are a Bears fan who cares about what this roster actually looks like when the pads go on in July, smash that like button, share this with every Bears fan you know, and subscribe so you never miss a breakdown like this. Now let's talk about the man at the center of this story. His name is Tony Fields too, and the Bears just signed him off the Columbus Aviators roster in the UFL. Before you scroll past this thinking it does not matter, hear me out. Because this move is actually telling us something about the state of this linebacker room, and it is not entirely comfortable. Here is what Tony Fields II actually is as a player. This is not some random guy who starred at a Division II school and somehow impressed a scout at a regional combine. This is a 5th-round NFL draft pick out of 2 Power 5 programs. He played college ball at the University of Arizona from 2017 to 2019, then transferred to West Virginia and played there in 2020 before entering the draft. The Cleveland Browns selected him, and over the next few years he played in 45 NFL games, starting 10 of them. He racked up 88 tackles, a tackle for loss, an interception, which by all accounts was a pick six, and a pass breakup. He was with the Los Angeles Rams on their practice squad in both 2024 and 2025. Then this spring, he went to the UFL and absolutely balled out. In just 10 games with Columbus, he finished second in the entire league with 77 tackles. That is nearly 8 tackles per game. He also added 5 tackles for loss and a sack. The UFL is starting to see its top performers get scooped up by NFL teams, and the Bears moved quickly to grab him. So here is the question you should be sitting with right now. Why does a team with what looks like a solid linebacker depth chart on paper feel the urgent need to add a body at this position the Monday after OTAs and minicamp wrap up? That question is the whole story. Let's walk through exactly what is going on with this linebacker room, because the injury picture is genuinely concerning. DeMarco Jackson, a player many expected to compete for a starting role heading into training camp, left Tuesday's minicamp practice and never came back for the remaining 2 days. Now the Bears are not required to disclose the nature of injuries, so we do not have an official diagnosis. The most optimistic read is that it is something soft tissue related, maybe an ankle, maybe a hamstring, and they held him out mostly as a precaution. But when one of your expected starters misses 2 of 3 minicamp practices, that is not something you just shrug off. And it does not stop there, because 3 more linebackers were also either completely absent or extremely limited throughout the entire minicamp and OTA stretch. Keyshawn Elliott, the rookie, missed all of minicamp. Those are valuable developmental reps gone. Ruben Hippolyte was essentially nowhere to be found for the better part of the entire offseason program. And then there is Noah Sue, who is coming off an Achilles injury, the kind of injury that has a long and unpredictable recovery timeline. He was a real contributor for this defense last season, and right now it is fair to say he will not be ready to go for Week 1. He is simply out of the picture to start the year. So let's count that up. You have DeMarco Jackson banged up. You have Keyshawn Elliott missing minicamp. You have Ruben Hippolyte barely seen. You have Noah Sue not expected to be ready for opening day. That is 4 linebackers all fighting for roster spots who are either hurt or compromised heading into the most important stretch of the offseason. Question of the day, and I genuinely want you to answer this in the comments below. Do you think the Bears are downplaying the severity of these linebacker injuries? Or do you believe this is mostly precautionary rest and the room will be healthy by training camp? Now here is the silver lining, and it is a real one. TJ Edwards returned to team drills during minicamp. That is a significant development, because he missed time after fracturing his fibula late last season. He is not a perfect player, his coverage limitations in space are well documented, but he is experienced, he is physical, and he can anchor a defense when healthy. Devin Bush is also in the building as a legitimate addition this offseason. On paper, when everyone is upright and available, this linebacker unit has real potential. But potential means nothing when 4 of your linebackers are unavailable, and your most experienced healthy body is coming back from a fractured fibula. That is precisely the context for why Tony Fields too matters. He is not walking in here to be a star. He is a professional football player with NFL experience, and, just as importantly, a track record of making his living on special teams. That is his path to a roster spot if he earns one. But the Bears do not sign a UFL linebacker 6 weeks before training camp unless someone in that building looked at the injury list and decided they needed another insured body in the room. That is just the reality of what this move signals. Here is one more thing worth raising before we close this out. Does any of this make you nervous about how this defense performs early in the season if some of these guys are not fully right by week 1? Because the linebacker core is not a luxury position. It is the engine of what this defense wants to be. And right now that engine has more warning lights on than anyone would like. The Bears also worked out wide receiver Christian Wilkerson recently, a journeyman who has bounced between the Patriots, Raiders, Titans, and Bills with 6 career catches, 3 of which went for touchdowns, making him something of a red zone specialist. Whether that goes anywhere remains to be seen, but it tells you this front office is actively scanning for affordable depth across the roster as training camp approaches. The bottom line is this: the Tony Fields 2 signing is not a panic move, but it is absolutely a signal. When a team adds a special teams linebacker with NFL starting experience from a developmental spring league in the middle of June, they are telling you something without saying it out loud. This linebacker room has real questions hanging over it, and we will not get real answers until the pads go on in training camp. Keep your eyes on who shows up healthy, who is limited, and whether any of these banged-up players come back fully ready to compete. That is where this story goes next, and when it develops, you will hear about it right here.